One Piece chapter 982 is out, and I gotta say, one of the more fun chapters, and one of the most fun chapters of One Piece I've read in a while. Whereas it's a bunch of things that I had some qualms about, right? Where things I had questions about, that's it. But overall, a very, very enjoyable chapter. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're gonna start with the cover page here because I'm thinking this cover story probably has a few more pages to go, a few more chapters to go. They're running away from the Marines now, but I think we have to have a moment where Pound meets Lola and Chiffon. The weird thing about this cover page though, Gotti is carrying Lola, but Chiffon is carrying Capone. So a very cute cover page, and personally I think it's only going to get more wholesome from here because that meeting with Pound and his kids, but not only his kids, seeing his grandchild as well, is going to be great. But you know what, let's stop beating around the bush. Let's get to One Piece chapter 982 where a lot happened and we got some questions, man. We got some questions about things. But first, Kaido and Orochi, they're celebrating, they're happy, everything is going their way, there's no reason to worry. And then Kandro shows up. And he's beating down Orochi's men. Well, for the most part, Kaido's men. They don't know him. They don't know anything about him. Kandro made it all the way to Kaido and Orochi. Doesn't that say something about security? That somebody that was not planned to be there made it all the way to Orochi and Kaido? Before that though, Kaido mentions something important. He talks about Laugh Tale, and he mentions the fact, because this is really cool, this is a good tie-in, that because Kandro was so loyal, based on what Orochi said about him saying Oden didn't say anything to the Scabbards about Laugh Tale means that he really didn't tell him anything, right? But there has to be more to that. Like, why didn't Oden tell his Scabbards anything about Laugh Tale? Either Oden was dense, where he felt like there was nothing they could do, because Oden, for the most part, in a way, he was looking towards the future. So you would think he would impart that knowledge on maybe not all of them, but one of them. Maybe he told one of them what was going on in regards to Laugh Tale. Maybe he didn't, right? Kaido is saying they really didn't know. My bad, I guess they really didn't know. This speaks to Kaido's ambition, knowing that he's seeking information on Laugh Tale and that he really wants to find out more about it. I suppose there's never been anything clear-cut in regards to Kaido wanting to become the Pirate King, but I think based on his interest in this information, you would assume that that's one of his goals, but he wants a war. So I don't think that's priority at this point, but it's a part of it. It's kind of like a side quest where, like, if I can get it, I'm gonna take it. So it's so interesting in One Piece that's like the Yonko, they all have different goals and ambitions, and for the most part, it's a bit jumbled, right? For Big Mom, she wants to become the Pirate King or Queen, but she also wants to have her gigantification stuff, right? Have people come to her level. That whole thing she had with Caesar. For Kaido, he wants his war, but he has interest in Laugh Tale. For Shanks, we have no clue in regards to what that guy actually wants, right? And for Blackbeard, he wants power, but there's some interest in the One Piece as well. So One Piece just has a collection of characters. It makes you reflect and think about just how great these collection of characters are because they have their own goals, their own morals, their own ambitions, and it just adds to the greatness of One Piece. I'm sorry, quick tangent, but sometimes you just have to appreciate those things, right? Appreciate moments like this where you realize these characters are actually pretty damn dope. But anyway, let's move forward to Kandro talking about just Momonosuke, and unexpected, very unexpected, because a lot of us, including myself, thought that Momo would find a way to get away. Of course, the war isn't over. However, I think the moment in which Momo can get away himself has passed. But as people said in my live reaction, we have to give Momo a W, a huge W for at least trying. The crybaby that he was in Punk Hazard to what he is now, Momo has come a very long way where he's trying to escape a scabbard, a servant of Orochi, even though he knows that he's going to be overwhelmed if push comes to shove, and push did come to shove in his face. But he's becoming a big boy. He's growing up. I think them comparing him to his dad is very unfair because Oden is such a great person, a great man. Expecting a kid to measure up to that, very, very unlikely. Typically for great fathers, of course, they're kids. There's some insecurity there because you always want to measure up to your father. And for Momo, there is that. But I don't think he should feel bad about where he is now because it's not about where you start, it's about where you finish. So for Momo, I think this is valuable experience that he's learning. Not just this, but from his journey with the Straw Hats, with Kandro, and with Kinemon, he's learned a lot. So for him, he's come a very long way. And I'm really liking Momo's development. Kaido's face when Kandro said he had to beat him till he couldn't move was a bit weird, but it was kind of dispelled by his dialogue in the next chapter or the next panels where he said, well, he doesn't look any different. He can't measure up to his father. So it's weird. Again, Kaido, I think there are layers to him, especially with him having a kid himself. So there's a bit more to uncover with Kaido. Black Maria doesn't plan on doing anything right here. She's just cuddled up with Kaido. She is the appropriate size for Kaido to, I suppose, engage with. but she's not doing anything. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with her in regards to matchups, but hey, it ties in with her not being at the pleasure quarter, and it also ties with what she does or her primary source or what she's in control of. If she's basically the queen of the pleasure quarter, is she the queen of pleasure in Onigashima? Whereas that's why she's so cuddled up with Kaido. That's why Kaido is like, yo, I'm having a good time. Like, let's just chill out. It's making sense to me, all right? To Orochi, though, people don't like him, but I appreciate his character because he's so damn cautious. Some would even say paranoid, because he really is about everything that's going on. And I think that goes back to where he comes from, right? I think for some people, when you come from nothing, or when you come from, basically you built yourself from the ground up. Of course, he got a lot of help, but for the most part, he is extremely scared to lose what he has, because I feel like in a way he doesn't feel like he deserves it or he earned it because of where he came from. And again, a lot of people helped him to get him to this spot, specifically the old hag and the old man. However, he's extremely paranoid to the point that Kaido was saying, all right, don't worry about it, everything is fine, after Fukurokuju came in and told them everything that's going on. They did say they spotted Luffy, Kid, Zoro, and Killer there, so the supernovas are on the island, and I love that panel. That panel is one of the best panels in Wano so far. I'm not, just for me at least, because I love when Oda gives us perspective like that, showing us how people view the Straw Hats or view some of the supernovas, and then it's adding parallel to Kid and Luffy's crew, where you have the top four, basically Luffy and Kid, Zoro and Killer, the two captains with their two right hands that are part of the supernova. It's so much there in that small panel, which I think Oda does very well sometimes, telling us a lot without saying it flat out. So really love that panel. However, Orochi's not okay, and because of that, he is willing to sacrifice or crucify Momo. So crucify and chill incoming. Nekomamushi and Marco, that was the main thing from this chapter, where I felt like it's gonna have the most discussion this week based on like just how many implications come from these statements and this dialogue. Marco and Neko, they show up at the same time. Marco did give Neko a message. He decides to throw it away, and we see the message. The message was to tell Luffy that he will be there, but he will be late. And then he goes into how he liked Oden, and that word about everything that was going on with him never made it to sea, and that he couldn't imagine all this was going on. This is 20 years later. I'm going to make an entire video about that dialogue, because there are a lot of things there that I think, I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. It makes sense based on what we know now, right? Knowing the warlords were abolished, knowing everything that happened at the Reverie. But Marco saying that he would be late, again, in hindsight, it makes sense. But how would he know that? There are things that we have to be missing here. But I feel like it's needed dialogue and needed information in regards to what happened and why he decided to come. So I absolutely love that, but I need a bit more, just a bit more in regards to what's going on with Marco, why he decided to come all of a sudden, which, you know, speculation is that the warlord is being abolished, but is that the only reason? Interesting stuff, very interesting. Maybe I'm the only person that feels like this is super interesting, but it's important stuff that I want to know about. Very important. Kyoshiro there in Onigashima as well, right? So he engages with Sasaki, because something that at first I was thinking were like, okay, you engage with Sasaki, not knowing if he knows what Kanjuro knows, right? But at that point, he's already there, he's engaging. It's something that wasn't foreseen. They mentioned a gate blocking the road, so for Kyoshiro, he took advantage of the situation. He engaged. Sasaki seemed to not know anything, so then he captured him. Some were saying that this means that the Flying Six are weak. I'm not sure how we find power scaling out of this. This is just somebody getting caught off guard, whereas he thought someone was an ally, ended up being an enemy, ended up capturing him. It happens. I don't think Sasaki is done in this arc. I think this is a way to restrain him. More than likely, he's a devil fruit user, so they probably are sea stone cups. But that panel of Denjiro showing his back in regards to his true allegiance, talking about the history of Wano, he has been waiting for this moment for a long time. So for him doing this, and there's panels showing that he's absolutely ready for whatever's in front of him. And for me, Denjiro should be one of the strongest samurai in Wano, one of the strongest characters in Wano on the Alliance side, period. So a bit anticlimactic based on what we expected, but not bad at all. Big Mom is at it again. That's all I'm gonna say. Big Mom is at it again. We'll get into it Sunday. And again with the Marco thing as well, once we get the official, I'll talk more in depth about that as well. The final panel, I got really excited about that because it exuded a conqueror, right? Where Luffy, while being in Onigashima, he's an infiltrator, right? Stumbles upon Ulti and Payday. Page 1. Ulti asked Luffy, hey, what do you want? And Luffy's like, I was gonna ask you the same thing. And his scowl was one of just dominance, looking down at her like, you should not be in the same ring with me. That's what I got from it. It got me really hype for what's to come. And again, the best thing about this chapter, no break next week, y'all. Or at least it didn't say it on the chapter here. I'm hoping for no break next week. That would be amazing. 3 chapters in a row. Anyway, literally this chapter was a roller coaster, right? It had so many questions that I need answers to, but it was so damn enjoyable, right? And I don't mind chapters like this at all, where it's like, it's giving us more questions, but it flowed really well, progressed the story a lot, and it was fun. It was funny. It was engaging. Very good chapter. Very, very good chapter. I really enjoyed it. But guys, give me your thoughts. How did you feel about this chapter? How do you feel about what Marco said in regards to Oden and the message? How do you feel about Luffy versus Payday, and Ulti? But give me your thoughts. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BrogODAce. Follow me on Instagram at BrogD.Ace. Quickly though, if you're interested in Existence merch, the link will be in the description box down below as well. Hat, etc. Check it out. Fire stuff. Shout out to my guy Trent Money. You know who it is. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure to like and subscribe again. That helps out a lot. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.